Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Saints Squadron. I'm yours, Dylan Sanders of Saints Wire Pelicans Roundtable, and I kind of forgot what it was like to win a game. It's it's pretty fun, I have to say. I must admit.
John Hendricks, New Orleans football, and after that performance, I think some people can shut the shuck up.
Oh.
I'm Ross Jackson, host of Locked On Saints podcast, and not only did I forget what it was like to cover a win, I forgot what it was like to cover good quarterback play. My goodness.
This is former Saints wide receiver Lance Moore. And while I'm excited that we won, let's not shuck up that rebuild now.
That's right. Let's go.
Okay.
It's the Saints Squad. Everything New Orleans Saints, every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from down in the Big Easy, the way only Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Saints Squad Show, starting now.
Howdy, Who Dat Nation, and welcome back to another episode of the Saints Squad Show. I am your host, Dylan Sanders. Thank you for making it your first listen every Sunday and Wednesday part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We have a unique group of experts here ready to bring you a fun and informative show on everything New Orleans Saints. Today, we're going to be diving into, I think there was a win. Was there a win in Carolina? That was actually pretty fun. We got to win a game
on the season for those who are keeping
games,
score at home.
2 games. We're going to talk about a win. We're going to talk about Tyler Shough looking awesome. We're going to talk about Alontae Taylor, Demario Davis, the defense looking legit. Then we're going to talk about the ramifications of a win, balancing the rebuild, balancing the win. We're going to talk about all of that. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. All right, let's jump into our instant reactions. We have a win to talk about. It's the vibes are up. Let's start with Ross. Well, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is exactly what the New Orleans Saints needed, obviously, was to show that number 40 overall selection in Tyler Shough was the way to go for New Orleans. They wanted to be able to show everybody, hey, this is what they saw in this guy. This is why they believed in him. And I think you saw some really, really nice things from him that I'm sure we'll break down as we go throughout. And so for me, beyond the win in terms of the record, the win for me is, okay, there's the Tyler Shough that the Saints have been wanting to get out on the football field and we're hoping would take the football field. Now he's got to put it all together. But I dare say we saw Tyler Shough even elevate some talent around him, and that's a promising look. One game, one okay opponent, but an opponent with a winning record, which used to be the Saints' kryptonite, or has been the Saints' kryptonite for years. So we got to see if we can string it together. But for me, like, that's the biggest win that comes out of this, is what happened today at the quarterback position.
Yeah. John, instant reactions.
Yeah, this is the textbook example of the Saints playing a complete game. They look good on defense, They look good on offense and special teams, a few things here and there, but I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, is the fact that, and you heard on the Fox broadcast, for those who watched it, Mark Schlereth talked a lot about the Saints defense this week, saying we wanted to shut down Rico Dowdle and make Bryce Young beat us with his arm. They did that exactly to a T. Rico Dowdle, aside that first drive, was a factor in this game, but he wasn't a factor, and the Saints did a really nice job defensively. I think that they had a great game plan that they were able to execute against Bryce Young, and that's the big thing for me is this team, they just played this Jekyll Hyde football. The offense looks good, the defense looks like trash. The defense looks good, the offense looks like trash. They finally got a harmonious game here, and a lot of it had to do with Tyler Shough, the offense. I think Kellen Moore called a much better game plan, or they at least executed a much better game plan here. But the story for me is Tyler Shough, man. I think he had some amazing throws. I think he looked pretty good in the pocket. Of course, he's a rookie. He still has some refinement to do, but you take the bad with the good. This is a pretty impressive win against a team that was supposed to get blown out, right? I mean, the Saints weren't supposed to win this game, but to limit the Panthers to 7 points, a 5-4 team looked like the 1-8 team. The 1-8 team looked like the 5-4 team.
Lance, saved you for last. How are you feeling right now?
Look, man, domination, honestly. And the Panthers are lucky that score ended up 17-7. It could have easily been 31-7. Like, offensively, we would love to see more scoring, but in a game like that, I pulled up the stats on my phone because this is impressive, man. Like
Check
Carolina, 50 total plays, 175 yards. The Saints, 67 plays on offense, 388 yards. So you're plus 200 offensively.
Yep.
I mean, I could keep going through, but over 120 yards rushing for us, 73 yards for them. That's their bread and butter. Passing, clearly an advantage. Saints, 266 for Tyler Shough. What have we had a game over 250 yards this season with either quarterback?
I will have that answer for you very quickly.
102 yards passing for Bryce Young. They're lucky that Demario's interception was called back earlier in the game, where that's another opportunity, and that was their only scoring drive. Now we got to figure out this roughing the passer thing, man. Like, because sure, they don't want the quarterbacks getting hit upside the head, but like glancing over a guy's face mask, the first one, and then the second one, Demario's hand literally was on the left side of Bryce Young's shoulder pad. Like, what are we doing? I understand they want to protect the quarterback, but like in a game that was literally dominated by the Saints defense, it's unfortunate that those two penalties were kind of like, the one downfall of the game for the defense. I mean, and those are significant penalties. Those are 15-yard automatic first down penalties that you can't give up against really good teams. Obviously, you don't want to do that. But man, just impressed by the defense. Even more impressed by Tyler Shough, honestly. I mean, to go from what he looked like last week to what he looked like today. And I'm not going to say he looked perfect. There were some plays that I'm sure he'd love to have back. There was a few throws that I think he would like to have back. But, man, I mean, he looked confident. He looked athletic. He made some plays with his legs. Like, that's what you want to see. I do think that there's going to be room for growth for him in the situations that he's being pressured, not necessarily giving in and ducking and taking the sack or let me just throw this at the running back's legs. I think he needs to trust his athleticism even more, honestly, and get himself out of harm's way from time to time. But all in all, man, like he was awesome. The guys around him played awesome. AK, I was hoping he would get 100 yards in the game, but AK looked great. I'm going to leave it for Darian when Darian shows up. But I too think that we're doing too much of the Taysom thing, and that, like,
I agree, completely agreed.
I understand you're trying to seal away the game and maybe having an extra potential ball carrier in the game makes it a little bit tougher on the defense to be able to key in on who has the ball. But look, man, I'm not going to be overly critical, but once we get to some of those things, I'll hit on it a little bit more. But impressed, man. Like, and add to that, the teams that, hopefully the Giants figure this one out, but the teams that we needed to win as well are winning outside of the Giants. So it's not a horrible situation. And man, just impressed with what I saw today for sure.
And you're right. That was the most team passing yards for the team so far this season at 266. Previous high was 244.
There we go.
Right. Well, let's boots on the ground reporting. We have someone that was there live game. Darian, what are the vibes like out there right now?
Well, Panther fans started leaving with about 10 minutes left, so I think that was a win. That was a win. I joined at the right time. Lance said I'm gonna wait for Darian to come in to say what he's got to say, so I'll go ahead and say this and I'll end on a good note, of course. But yeah, the Taysom Hill packages were just excessive to me. I thought that they were too frequent. I thought that at the end of the game they worked so the totality may feel a certain kind of way, but in general, I didn't like it early. I think the third and short Taysom package, it's not as effective as it used to be. Whether that's age, whether that's health, it's just not hitting like that. So I do want to see the adjustment made to veer away from that, especially when you have a quarterback like Tyler Shough, who's having a really good game, had nearly 300 yards, and I thought he did really well out of structure. And we talk about how he'll handle pressure, how he'll handle when things get to him. And in the times that it did, I thought we saw Shough move in the pocket. That touchdown to Jawan was a great example of it. But that's not all he did. I don't want to boil it down to just that. And he had another play early. I can't remember who the recipient was there. But you had that touchdown to Jawan, and his touchdown to Olave was the bomb that we've been looking for. So you want to always be hesitant. You don't want to make big proclamations after one game. So I'll stick for today. On Sunday, I thought Tyler Shough showed me everything I wanted to see out of him in his second start. So kudos to Shough on that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's been asking Shough to be like a perfect quarterback or anything.
Please,
like,
God, no.
Like no one, he showed what we've been looking to show. All we've wanted to see this year from quarterbacks is prove that you can go out there and win a game, not just not lose a game.
Yep.
Prove out there that you can do what it takes. You can make the throws. You can take your game up a level, whatever you need to win a game. And that's exactly what Tyler Shough did today. He showed why the team drafted him. It's not hard. We saw this in training camp. Like he had flashes where he makes a throw and you're like, oh, I see it. I see what happened. And that is at least what he showed today. It was as much as you could ask for.
I think one of the other things that I really liked about his game too was just when he showed up. Out of his 282 passing yards, 201 of them came on third downs. He was 7 of 10 on third down. Both of his touchdown passes, were on third downs. And he converted several first downs through the air, including a few third and longs, which have been a big time issue for New Orleans. It's a big reason why the team finished up on at least looking pretty good in third down conversion rates and those things. And so they were 47% there, 8 out of 17. And that's better than what we're used to seeing from this team throughout the year. So I think that was the other thing that was good, was that last week we saw that the stage wasn't too big for him. This week it felt like we learned that the moments weren't too big for him.
Giants are about to lose, by the way. And I'm sorry, I just want to jump in and say, because I know we're going to talk a lot about Tyler Shough, but I said this last week following the Rams game, and for everybody there, is that we had a baseline of where Tyler Shough was at with his first start. I think, dare I say, he looked much better, much more improved, made better decisions, everything, a lot of boxes checked from it. And so I think that's where you have to start looking at this, is not, oh, what did he do compared to Spencer Rattler or Spencer Rattler? Like that's out the window, guys. Like it's Tyler Shough, his first start and against the Rams. Now it's here. This is where he's the level at. They got a bye week. Now, what is he going to do against Atlanta? Because Atlanta looks, I don't know what to think of Atlanta. They're the craziest Jekyll Hyde team I think I've ever seen out here. So I think it's pretty exciting to see where things go.
And I want to throw this out here just in case no one spoke about it. That catch by Olave, I was in a group chat with my friends, and I described it as euphoric. And I know that sounds like so dramatic, but I thought dramatic language was appropriate here, because one of the things that we've asked for, and this goes back the entire season, can a player make a play when the throw isn't perfect? Can a player make a play when the throw isn't perfect? And the throw wasn't perfect. He had a really good game. I thought it was well placed, but Olave had to reach out with one hand, and he got it. He brought it in. And that was the one that, it didn't seal the game, but it helped continue a drive that eventually did seal the game. It was a big-time moment. It was a play that wasn't easy. It wasn't right in his chest. So, and I've given Olave a lot. Like, we've seen it on the show. I've given Olave a lot of flack on this show. So I'm going to come in and give him his props when deserved. And I thought that was a big-time moment, and I thought it was an impressive play, something I've been asking for all season. So that was good. And I'm happy for him to get 100. He's had a couple 98s. So for him to finally cross that threshold and to cross it like that was the play that got him over 100. Big-time play. Big-time play by 12.
Yeah, it's a grown ass man catch. I'll just say it for everybody out there. You know, that's all it is. Sorry, kids.
It was what you needed to see out of Olave, especially after that trade. They stuck with, like, he's the guy. He's the right receiver that they're going to stick around, and this was the kind of game that you need to have.
Funny, we talked to Keith Williams on Friday, me and a couple of other reporters, and we asked Keith about the conversations going on about getting him more opportunities down, getting Olave more opportunities down the field and things like that. And he talked about how, that conversation actually started because Chris Olave got onto Keith Williams about it. Like, he complained about it. He was like, man, I need more. And then Keith Williams went to Kellen Moore, and then they looked at sort of trying to figure out where they could do that. And so now all of a sudden you're seeing more of those downfield opportunities. And then, as y'all mentioned, with Rashid Shaheed traded, more opportunities are going to come to him there. But that's something that Olave has been vying for pretty much since the beginning of the season. So good to see it come to fruition with this new quarterback.
Yep.
More of that. We need to see more of that.
Yeah.
You know, I said it the other day, like, it's the best part of his game. So the fact that he hasn't been able to be his best self in this offense yet, Now, obviously, today we saw a little bit more of what he can do. We need to see more of that moving forward. Like it's like making a right-handed thrower throw left-handed. Like we don't want to make him do something that he's not great at. And I'm not saying he can't do those other things. He is great at running vertical and catching the balls downfield. I don't think anybody would doubt that.
The best part about it, though, is you got to think about it. 5 catches for 104 yards. They had 8 targets. The first 2, him and Shough were not on the same page. The one to the end zone, he had another one, wasn't even close. So I think that's probably what I appreciate most about it is they got better, obviously, as the game went on.
Yeah.
He trusted Olave, and that's what you need to do. That's what he needs to be, wide receiver 1 for Shough. And so, look, I'm happy to see Olave ball out like that, especially on a week where you trade away one of your best, most explosive weapons, too.
Let me briefly interject and throw some defense in there because I won't be here when you guys do talk defense. I thought Demario Davis was fantastic today.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that he did a really good job flying around. There was plays. One of the things I appreciated being in the game, being at the game, I wasn't in it, but I was at the game, was to see to see players, take away plays that I wouldn't have seen on the TV copy. That was probably my favorite part. And I saw Demario take away a specific crossing route. I can't remember what quarter it was, but he's flown around. I hate that week roughing the passer took away an interception from him. I get it, but I didn't love it. And I thought he had a really good day. And Lance has talked about it multiple times. So to take a page out of his book, to see a guy of his age, of his caliber, still being that caliber at this age, it's one of the things that you truly appreciate. And I was able to appreciate that more than anything else being live at the game. Demario was flying around. So I wanted to say that because I won't be here when the defense gets talked about. But yeah, so let me just throw that in there.
Of course. Well, let's move off of instant reactions and then into breaking down a little bit more of what Tyler Shough did today and what it means for the team moving forward coming up next.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Thanks, Cody.
Excellent job, Dylan. Oh, wait, sorry.
All right, let's get into the Tyler Shough of it all. Now, there's going to be 2 parties that happen throughout the last couple of weeks of the season. It's going to be the people that don't want to see the Saints win a game at all, and it's going to be the ones that want to see Tyler Shough prove that he can win games, and if he wins games, that's fine. I'm in the latter group. I think that the best case scenario is that the Saints quarterback of the future is on the roster right now, and you don't need the first overall pick to take a chance at somebody. I think the best case scenario is you do see that, but you still in some games, and then you get the pick and you can trade back because you have Tyler Shough. But all I'm saying is Tyler Shough, if he wins games, I'm fine with it. And so let's jump into that, see what we think, and start off with Lance. How are you feeling with that?
I'm not necessarily in either of those boats totally. If we can win more games and the others around us are winning more games as well, I'm all for that. But I think more importantly, the development of the young quarterback. And look, I don't want us to make any kind of earth-shattering declaration today after him having one really good game that now he's all of a sudden Drew Brees. I think we saw some really, really good and impressive potential today. Now not next week, but in 2 weeks, is he going to build off of what we saw? Now, Atlanta's defense, how they've been up and down for sure this season, but they got some edge rushers now. Carolina they're not really known for their pressure this year, nor are they known for their sacks. I think they only have 15 or so sacks on the entire season. So Atlanta is going to present a whole different batch of issues. And for an offensive line, I know we're supposed to be talking about Shough, but for an offensive line of ours that's been banged up and not necessarily playing great all year, they're going to have a much tougher job next time out against the Falcons. So we get to see Shough play under pressure a lot more in that next game. That's just my assumption. Yeah. Now, can we run the football effectively again like we did today, which kind of takes the edge off of those pass rushers a little bit? I think that would be important to, be able to kind of minimize some of the damage that they're able to do up front defensively. But I just want to see growth from Shough next game, right? Like one decent game, one really good game. Now, what do we have the next time out? Is he continuing to protect the football? Is he continuing to look good on the shots downfield? Is he going to improve on his accuracy a little bit, where at times today it didn't look all that great for a couple of those throws early? But again, I'm impressed with what I saw from him, and my expectation is that we'll see more of the same from him. But I do know that we've got to run the football again, and we've got to be able to protect him. But I think, it's the arrow is pointing up as far as what we're looking at offensively, which is a good thing. And, maybe we don't have to pick a quarterback, early in next year's draft. And I think it would make more sense to not, honestly, even if we do get the number 1 overall pick. I just think that there's too many different things that this team needs. I don't think we're one top quarterback away from competing for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Ross, what are your thoughts on the Tyler Shough situation?
Yeah, look, I think you're right. I think that one of the best situations that they can have is that they find out that their quarterback's good and they end up with an early selection within the top 5. I think, or even within the top 3 if you can get there. But even within the top 5, like, it gives you an opportunity to go and find somebody that could be a difference maker for you. The best case scenario is that you find out you have a good quarterback in Tyler Shough and you feel comfortable enough going into 2026 with him. You don't have to find out that he's your franchise guy by the end of the season. You just need to find out if you're comfortable going into 2026 with him. If you do that and end up with the number 1 overall pick and then get an opportunity to, and I know it's about Mickey Loomis here, but get an opportunity to trade back, then all of a sudden, like, that's your best case scenario, right? Like, that's the pie in the sky best case scenario. So I'll highlight that. But I still think that as long as you find out that you have a quarterback you can go into 2026 with, which if Tyler Shough looks like he did today, consistently throughout the rest of the season, which is not the same as to say the rest of the season in every single game, just as long as he's looking strong throughout the rest of the season over the course of the average, then you're in a really good spot with a top selection one way or another, because then you can find a difference maker. You can add another pass catcher to this team. You can add another edge rusher to this team. You can go premier position early on and help yourself out. And so, yeah, I think that is the number 1 thing for this team in terms of figuring things out when it comes to Tyler Shough moving forward.
We talked about a little bit about it in the midweek episode. We said, they traded away Rashid Shaheed, they traded away Trevor Penning, and it gave the opportunity for Tyler Shough to be like, hey, I'm doing this with less weapons, with a worse offensive line. And that's exactly what he did. He really only had 2 options that he consistently looked at today. And that was Chris Olave and Jawan Johnson. Right. And it's, and the offensive line was bad. I think it wasn't a great game for the offensive line. He was constantly running, but he showed that ability to escape the sack, extend plays, show touch to get out of moments and make nice throws to open receivers that after plays get extended. I think it was exactly what you needed to see in this situation. John, how are you feeling about the Tyler Shough?
Yeah, you see what's possible. I think that's the biggest thing. And you look at this team, Lance is right. We've talked about it plenty. One player is not going to fix this entire team. They have a lot of things. And one of the things that I think the Saints need to figure out is, they got to figure out this assessment on Tyler Shough. So they got another piece of information for him. But they also got to figure out who are their core players they can have that can rebuild this thing. And if I look at this roster, there might be 2 or 3 right now that you could probably definitively say. That's probably Tally Fuanga, Kelvin Banks, and you might throw Chris Olave in there. Everybody else could be potentially expendable. You could say, you can do things without them. They need a lot to get where they want to go. But if they can use the draft picks wisely and they do figure out this quarterback position, let's say Shough finishes 5-3 or even 4-4 or whatever the case may be, that might give him enough confidence to say, let's keep going with him going into next year and feel good about that. Now, we know the quarterback position next year, free agency isn't going to look that good. They could potentially trade. I think it's just, you got a good baseline of where Shough was at last week against the Rams. This week, he exceeded a lot of expectations. I think he made some really good decisions, stepping up in the pocket, making things happen, not taking sacks, pushing the ball downfield, being willing to push the ball downfield. I mean, it wasn't just the one bomb to Olave, just being able to find Juwan on that play. I mean, the run game getting going is the key here, right? They were able to get Alvin Kamara going. I like what they were able to do with Devin Neal in there too. And so it wasn't always a successful thing. I think Kellen Moore is obviously learning a lot more as a play caller too. And look, we've said this. He doesn't have the Eagle squad. He doesn't have Jalen Hurts there. He doesn't have Saquon Barkley or Dallas Goedert, all these guys. Like, the Eagles have a much far superior talent group there, but I think he'll get better as it goes along, hopefully, is the hope. But I think with Tyler Shough, we saw a lot of good here. I think we saw what he can do in this offense, and he can make some throws. He can make some passes. Like, I know we threw it a lot on Olave for that catch, which is an amazing catch, but Shough threw a hell of a ball there, and he also threw a hell of a ball on the deep pass too. I mean, is definitely, one doesn't necessarily happen without the other all the time, but I'm encouraged by what I've seen from Tyler Shough. And man, if he can continue to play like this, the Saints may be able to feel better about their quarterback position than they had started this season.
No, Darian.
Yeah, I think that Ross had a good point about just feeling good enough to go into 2026. Like, if you can just feel good enough to go into next year, then you feel like you can skip out on this year's draft. And that should give you a lot of flexibility. I think another thing that would be great is if someone falls in love with a quarterback that's not Mendoza. I think that would be great too, because there's a chance that the Saints don't get the first overall pick. And if it all hinges upon that, then maybe the compensation isn't that great. But what if somebody falls in love with a secondary quarterback, and now you have someone else that people want to trade up for? They're about to try to get us out of here, so I'm going to get out of here soon. But
yeah, Ty Simpson keeps climbing, right? Like, that's another one of those guys.
That happens. If Simpson looks good and someone says, you know what, we want to get Simpson at 3, or we want to get Simpson at 4. We fall in love with him. We want to trade and do that. That would also work. But at the end of the day, if you like Shough, if you like Shough and you feel like you can go into next year and develop him, and I'll say this, I've given Kellen some flack. I think that Rattler improved from year 1 to year 2, and maybe that has something to do, and I'll choose to use that as a glimpse of optimism on what Kellen Moore can do as far as developing quarterbacks. If you look at Shough in his rookie year and say, we can work with that and we can build on that, let's take him in year 2 and really see what we have, I'm okay with that, because then you get to get an impact player probably at an edge rusher. You get to get an impact player maybe at a wide receiver. Like, you get these type of impact players that overall will help your team. One of the things that I've heard a lot this week, it feels like more than I've ever heard it in a condensed 7-day span, is the idea of building your team before getting the quarterback. And I've gone back and forth. I do feel like most quarterback needy teams are going to go get that quarterback when they need it. That's just how the NFL tends to work. But if you feel like you can push that off, you can delay it at least and maybe even stop it. Now you get the chance to do what everybody wants to do, the ideal situation. Go get an edge rusher that people are afraid of. Go get another wide receiver. Go get this isn't the first round, but I think a lot of people want other impacts around the defense. I was not going to go name all the positions, but the Saints have a lot of holes, right? I could be naming for a minute. I just think it feels good. This feels good. I think that overall, the Saints have put up more points, of course, but this is one of the more pleasing displays of offense that I've seen from the Saints. I still have things I want to see, but I feel like this is how they want the game to operate. Have a quarterback who makes big plays on third downs, be able to run the football, be able to have playmakers like Juwan, who they paid him to make plays like this, have guys like Olave, who I think they're going to pay him to make plays like this. The greatest thing to come out of Saints squad this season. But you have these things. These are great moments. These are building blocks. These are things that are encouraging. And I think at the end of the day, we've had about a month of no encouragement. This feels good today.
Well, Darian, to your point too, you were talking about Kellen Moore, but they don't have a veteran quarterback on this roster, right? This is something we talked about way back when. Moore was a guy, quarterback guy. Doug Nussmeier, quarterback guy. Scott Tolzien, quarterback guy. So they're trusting these guys to kind of learn from everything week to week. And I mean, I feel like they've made some strides. You pointed out Spencer. I think pointing out Tyler, like that is a credit to some of the coaching too. So I think that's a good call out for sure.
I think go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, look how the fortunes have changed. We go from 16 minutes of time of possession, and we actually won the time of possession in this game today.
Right.
After the other team started with a 7-minute drive too.
Yep.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Crazy.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the place that we've seen both of these quarterbacks improve so far immediately in Kellen Moore's system is under pressure. And that's a tough place for young quarterbacks to improve. And the fact that we're seeing that, I think, is a big testament to what Kellen Moore has done. There's a lot of things that I shake my head at when it comes to Kellen Moore on game days.
Sure.
But when it comes to the improvement of these quarterbacks under pressure, I think that's a real big place where he has found something in his offensive system, or just coaching between him and Scott Tolzien and Doug Nussmeier in terms of getting those guys ready to handle that pressure.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Go Alontae Taylor. Great play. Sorry, I'm about to get out of here. Great job, Alontae.
Darian's about to get arrested now.
Hey, great play by Alontae to fake the pressure, peel out, and really trick Bryce Young. That's next segment, but I won't be here. Love you guys. Peace. Go Saints.
Peace. See ya. All right. While I go check on Darian to make sure he's okay, we are gonna go to break real quick. When we come back, we're gonna talk some defense. And maybe some Alontae Taylor, some Demario Davis. Have more fun, because this wasn't just a good offensive game. It was a great defensive game as well.
Yes.
Guys, running a business is kind of like running a business. It's kind of like running an NFL team. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS is supposed to make work easier. Good drafts are supposed to make your team better. But now, instead of, if you draft poor, your team is stuck with all of these bad little pieces. You got to build around. You're like, oh man, this guy stinks. The average company is also buried down by a bunch of apps that slow down your teams. Simply, they just don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's sad. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. By uniting your employees, teams, and departments in one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. And right now, you can get 6 months for free. Free? Free? When you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. Learn more at RIPPLING.com/LockedOnNFL. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNFL for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, guys. Let's talk some defense. And I think we have to start off with Alontae Taylor. As a guy that a lot of us, some of us thought might get moved last week. He didn't. He stayed around. We knew they were working on an extension, probably some money, a lot of money in between actually getting that extension done. But a game like this certainly helps Alontae's case. He did a little bit of everything. He got pressure, he got an interception. Ross pointed out he made a great play on the fumble to not pick up the play. So let's start off with Ross. What you think of Alontae Taylor in this game?
Yeah, I mean, just a strong game from him and aptly timed, right? Like there were two other teams that were interested in potentially trading for him and looking to take him away from New Orleans. And so he's getting interest from other teams. One of those teams wanted to play him on the outside. That's going to matter in contract negotiations. And then he comes out of this and then ends up being in a situation where he has this really solid game. If he keeps this up, it's only helping his case for what his people get to bring to those contract negotiations. So aptly timed in that perspective. But Alontae, I think he has said before that Baker Mayfield's his favorite quarterback because I'm pretty sure that's who he got his first interception against. But I think he's got to start reconsidering Bryce Young as his favorite quarterback. Interception, several sacks on the guy, several pressures, has put him in bad situations in every game that they've played against, that they've gone up against one another. And so I give Alontae Taylor a lot of props for his performance against the guy that I think should be his favorite quarterback to play against now.
Yeah. John, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think Alontae played with a lot of juice today, and I love seeing it. And look, I guess And I don't know, this is probably more of a Lance question because I mean he's obviously played in this league. None of us yokels have, but it just
Speak
all
for
the
yourself.
all of the speculation of your name being thrown out. You could be traded at any moment. You could be here. You could not be here. He's here in New Orleans. He's here at least through the end of the season. There's been talks about the contract extensions and stuff. So it was good to see him respond off of not being traded, playing a really solid game. And, I think Alontae Taylor, with the way he can play, he has that ability to play that way every week. The thing is, we just haven't seen it. And we knew when Brandon Staley got here, one of the first things that he was talking about, even Alontae in the offseason program or offseason process, find somebody that will use him the right way. And I don't know if we've arrived there yet at all, but I think it's encouraging to see in a performance like what Alontae was able to do today. And, look, he was just one of the many bright stars on defense today. We talked about Demario Davis. I'll just go ahead and mention him now. I'll put Nathan Shepard in there, not just with the, he had a good a key sack in the game. He also had the block field goal. And for those who aren't really aware of the rule, it's a stupid rule, but when you block the kick and it goes beyond the line of scrimmage, if you touch it and the other team recovers, that's a first down. See Miami, Dallas, Thanksgiving, 1993,
Thanksgiving.
Leon Lett. You can kind of figure it's a very old, outdated rule. It doesn't happen a lot, but the Saints, somehow we always get those types of rules that rear its ugly head like 20 years later and stuff. But no, it's really good to see Alontae play that way. Go ahead,
John. I just want to comment on that specific play. In my opinion, that rule was created for when a kick is tipped, so blocked, but tipped and goes far beyond the line of scrimmage. Not a kick where the ball is blocked off of a Carolina player's helmet, literally into the scrum of players. Like that to me is kind of like, okay, like I get it. We blocked the kick. The ball went beyond the line of scrimmage. And when it's practiced, it's never practiced in the sense that it happened today. It's always the ball is downfield 5, 10, 15, 20 yards, and it becomes a Peter, basically, get away from the football.
Yep.
That's the call. None of the defenders go anywhere near the football, right? That situation was as fluky as it comes for a block kick. And the fact that Cam Jordan was right there with his legs like around the ball, but then he didn't finish, like that tells me that he wasn't super clear on what the specifics were of that rule. And even when it happened, I was like, cool, because I just figured we recovered the football. I didn't pay any attention to it. Yeah, but then when they were overruling it and giving Carolina the ball, I was like, okay, it makes sense. It obviously touched one of our players, or we touched it and just didn't finish with the football in our hands. So it's just the fact that
it went backwards first should have superseded the fact that it went forward next. Like I think that should be a part of that rule.
So much, but
I'm just saying, like that's what if I was competition committee, I'm bringing that to the table. You know what I mean?
Yes, and that's one of those things that really doesn't make sense. Like they could potentially change that. Like, okay, if the ball touches a Carolina player now, like it did today, before it goes beyond the line of scrimmage, then it's just like
dead ball or something. Yeah.
No, like a punt return.
Well, not
if the punting team touches the football, then it doesn't matter what happens after that. The offensive team can recover it, fumble it, and they still get the ball back because the defensive team touched the football first. But that's next level thinking. The competition committee isn't interested in that. The competition committee is interested in keeping things as is. It's the status quo. Less work for us.
Right.
But I don't even know if it's my turn, but Alontae Taylor, impact type of performance. I mean, like, and I was texting with our buddy Sharif Ishak during the game, and I said the one thing that I'm seeing in this defense today that we have not seen for a long time is the energy. They just looked way more energetic. They played with more effort. They played with more excitement after the play. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Alontae Taylor, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nathan Shepard. I mean, like all of those guys were making plays, and it looked like they were having fun again. Like that's what this defense needs to be. Should they not give up a touchdown on the first drive? Sure. Should they not give Carolina an easy first down on a roughing the passer penalty? Sure. But what we saw from them and just the overall exceptional performance by Alontae Taylor, both in the pass game and in the run game, making impact plays all over the field, causing turnovers and helping to complete a turnover. I mean, like he showed today why he is a legit, probably top 2 or 3 slot cornerback in the National Football League. And I think he should get paid as such, right? Like he might not get number 1 outside corner money, but he should get number 2 or number 3 slot corner money. And I think he's a guy that we should have. He's young enough that could be around for this rebuild and potentially one of those guys that is a mainstay on this defense that helps to build it.
You think he was affected? That's what I was saying in the first part. He was affected by the trade rumors. Like, I mean, you've been in a player's shoes before, obviously, and seen. Do you think that affects anything?
Potentially, and maybe it was just him saying, like, we haven't gotten an extension signed yet. Let me go ahead and like take it up a notch again and see if they finally pony up where they should. But I do think it's going to be a tricky negotiation because he's most impactful in the slot. Are they going to pay him as a starter, even though he does start outside and then move inside in the nickel? I just think the teams are playing so much 3 receiver offense. Now, Carolina was kind of the exception because they played heavy personnel with a bunch of tight ends a lot. But and that's probably because Ted McMillan was banged up a little bit. But it's going to be interesting to see where that number comes in if the Saints do end up extending him. And again, if they sign an extension, that generally means that not all the time, but generally would mean that it's probably less than he would be able to get on the open market. So I'm curious to see if that's something that happens, or if they say, you know what, we're going to take this into the offseason, see what you can get. And if you want to come back, that offer's on the table. I think he's worth a good number. He's that type of player. But again, if we're just talking starting a base defense with him on the outside, I think his production and his ability kind of falls off a little bit because he's just such a better player to me from the inside.
For sure. I think the nickel package is much better with Riley and McKinstry on the boundary and him in the slot. But yeah, it is weird with those kind of players we saw with Jimmy Graham. It's going to be interesting to see like where he wants to get paid and how he actually gets paid. And if somebody's going to want to play him on the boundary in the trade, someone might want to pay him as a boundary and play him on the boundary in free agency. It's going to be a really interesting thing to watch. Again, I want to give a shout out to Demario Davis, another great game. I want to give a shout out to someone that I have been very hard on this year, Pete Werner. I think Pete Werner played a great game.
He did really good.
This was the vintage Pete Werner run defense game. Who else? Brian Bresee had a great game.
Brian Bresee did. I'll mention Cam Jordan, 3.5 sacks on the year, 1.5 sacks away from 5. That gets him $300,000 in incentives. That'll keep you going. That'll keep you going late in the season.
He's going to be going for those sacks. I guarantee.
I'll add Quincy Riley, just the fact that I saw him maybe on one play. Like I don't know if people are just not throwing his way, but man, I feel like they got something in this rookie, man.
I want to see the corners challenge these receivers a little bit. Now I understand probably the game plan was we're going to play off coverage. We're going to shut down the run. We're going to let everything kind of develop in front of us. Like I want to see more from Quincy Riley in the pass game, and not necessarily playing him press coverage man-to-man 24/7, but I do want to see him not giving up so many easy completions in front of him for first downs. That's just me. Because I want to see how he responds. I want to see how he plays. I want to see how he mirrors and how he affects receivers. And it's hard to see that in a defense when they're just playing their corners off and accepting everything in front of them.
Yeah, there was that game against Chicago where it looked like he went from, you can always tell that he's not missing what's happening. It's just that like the action doesn't necessarily doesn't actually like click right away. And that's typical for young corners, right? I see the thing develop in front of me, I watch it happen, and then I react. And then as you get better, you start to anticipate things. And so I'm looking for him to anticipate a little bit more. That game against Chicago, he had that. That's what got him the interception on the sideline, was that he anticipated where it was going. He saw the route. He saw the eyes of the quarterback, was able to go and make the play. And so I'm waiting for him to get a little bit more comfortable in there. I'm glad you said that, Lance, because I've had similar feelings. I just want to see him contest the catch point a little bit more, like be there as when those plays are being made.
And a big thing that we've talked about this defense a lot this year, it has been a big problem at times. One missed tackle. I mean, that
I
is
think that was Warner, right?
It was Warner.
Early,
yeah,
it was a Warner early, but that was it.
But one missed tackle.
Poop on the parade, but
that is one of those stats that a padlock stat that stands out whenever they struggle so much tackling early on the season. You have a game where you shut down the run game, you don't let the receivers beat you too bad, and you have one missed tackle to thank for it. I think it was a much better game all around. It's something that we have wanted to see for a long time.
The defensive penalties, man, it's just
6 penalties for 60 yards, penalty for 5 yards.
Right.
Carolina had one.
Yeah, and the Saints had 6 for 60, which is better than 11 or whatever they were doing like early on in the season. And we try not to let perfection get in the way of progress as a people. I get that. But I mean, just when it comes down to this, like just these poorly timed penalties and everything like that, even though that they like some of them were trash calls. It's just it's a tough situation to be in constantly with them. But that's just if I wanted to pick something out and say, hey, this is still something that needs to get fixed over on the defensive side. How about Jonathan Bullard contributing too in the run defense side? Like that was the first time I really saw him
block tip at the line too. He had a block pass. Yep. I had a couple of them there. Demario got one. So
let's get some more players of the game shout outs coming up next as we go over our players of the game.
Well, that makes sense.
Guys, the NFL and NBA seasons are fully underway, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel. Even if you missed the start of the game or you just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score to the next touchdown to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Last weekend, I told you I was going to go with Tyler Shough over 180 and a half passing yards. That happened. He smashed that. And a Rico Dowdle anytime touchdown combined for plus 195 odds. Both hit. If you want to put $5 down on that parlay, you'd be getting $300 in bonus bets. But it's not just that. Any new customers, bet $5. If your first $5 bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. FanDuel is giving the new customers this great deal, so get in on the action. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game your way with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's close it out today with players of the game. We've given a lot of shout-outs, but here's where we go with ours. Let's go with John. How are you feeling today?
I'll just start with Chris Olave. I mean, 5 catches, 104 yards, the big touchdown, the one-handed catch. I mean, look, I think with Chris Olave playing the way he did today was really what everybody wanted to see and needed to see. I think the Saints needed to see it too. I think Chris Olave needed to see it too. Just like he has it. And if everybody remembers, Carolina last year was the game that almost ended his career. You know, he had the bad concussion and such. And so for him to come back and have a little bit of redemption out here in Charlotte was really good to see. But man, 12 went off, and you feed him, overcoming the 2 missed targets, the one in the end zone and the other one that they just weren't on the same page. I think 12 deserves a big shout out. Getting over 100. I know he's been close a lot all season, but finally getting over 100. I know he helped your fantasy team today, but more importantly for the Saints, it made that if the 5th-year option said, okay, play like that. That's how you play. That's how you play. Like bad boys do. That's how you shoot. And that's how Chris Olave.
Oh man, Ross, who you got?
Jawan.
I think I gotta go. No, I will. I'll take the other. Kind of the big one here.
Kind of very Lance Moore there.
I'll go big picture, and like Tyler Shough, man, like we got to give him. He's got to be one of these guys. And so look, this is the biggest question mark around the entire remainder of the New Orleans Saints season. It's not how many games can they win. In fact, it might almost be more how many games should they win is maybe a bigger thing. But when it comes to the win-loss record, but the biggest topic for New Orleans is how good is Tyler Shough. And like I mentioned earlier, it felt like up against Los Angeles, even though it wasn't a strong game for any area of the team up against LA, he still never really felt like the moment was, or that the stage was too big for him. And then he got into this, and then it looked much better going up against an okay team, not a great team, but not a bad team either, a winning record team and a team that was second in the division going into this, or it still is second in the division because Atlanta can't figure itself out.
Yeah.
The thing that everything that Tyler Shough needed to show today, he showed. And I think that that's probably the most important thing that's happened so far for the New Orleans Saints season. Now he's got to keep it going, as we've all highlighted. It's not just one game that should settle everybody in or anything like that. But man, just his ability to create, his ability to operate out of structure, his ability to operate in structure, the ball location on some of those passes, not all perfect, but enough to win a football game, and enough to almost say that the Saints won because of their defense, but won because of Tyler Shough being able to open up the passing game. And that's something that we've said a lot that we needed to see from a quarterback that we haven't seen. We've seen a lot of, hey, he's not losing the team games. Hey, they can win with him. This is really the first time in a while that we've seen a quarterback go out there and say and show that you win a game because of what that quarterback did. And so I'll give him all the flowers coming out of this game. And I can't wait to see what happens after the bye week.
Yeah, I was going to say, while we're talking about Shough, I think it's great, perfect timing. You get this win, you go into the bye week, and then you come back at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Talk about getting a city on your side. I think that now you get the positive vibes. You get the positive vibes of this win. You go into the bye week. The next weekend, the Saints can't ruin it. Everyone's gonna still be happy next weekend because you're coming off the win. And then if you come out and you beat the Falcons at home in your first home game, I mean, I think that people would be ready to build a statue. And while it would be a little early, but people would be. People
would be excited. You're right.
Trevor Siemian status.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, look, I think it's safe to say that Tyler Shough had the best quarterback performance we've seen in the last year. Right? Like if you're talking Spencer Rattler starts last year all the way through this year, and then Tyler Shough the last 2 weeks, like he's looked the best out of the two. And I will be the first to admit that I thought that Spencer Rattler would be better. And I didn't expect this from Tyler Shough, at least not this soon. But again, I'm not ready to build a statue for him, Dylan. I need to see consistency out of a quarterback. That's what you want in your starting quarterback in the NFL. Somebody who is consistently good. And like Ross said, consistently the reason why you win games. Not, okay, the defense has to ball out and quarterback just don't mess this thing up. Like, I think that he's got the potential, but the jury is still out. We need to see more. One win is not going to solidify his legacy, right? He's got to continue to go out and improve.
And to your credit, Lance, there's a big difference between Tyler Shough starting weeks 9 and 10 of a season versus starting weeks 1 and 2 of a season, right? For sure. Like we might have seen, even at that point, we might have seen a very different Tyler Shough than we're seeing now and everything. And so, I think we were both in the same boat that Spencer Rattler was the right choice to open up the season, even though I thought the Saints would go with Tyler Shough. It always felt that Spencer Rattler was the right one to open the season with, but it might have worked out great for Tyler Shough in terms of his opportunity to develop behind the scenes before actually being thrown into the fire.
For sure. And I mean, you just look at like the timeline. Maybe we didn't all understand the vision, but I feel like the vision now is starting to become a little more clear. And I think after 2 weeks of seeing Shough, I would be okay with him riding this out and riding next season out, because then you really get a true evaluation of him. Is this going to be our guy long term? Like we're in the middle of a rebuild. It's not like we need to go and draft Mendoza #1 overall because we think Mendoza is going to take this roster to the Super Bowl. You don't do that unless you absolutely love him. But the word that we got was that Kellen Moore and the group absolutely love Shough in this draft. So you've got to give your guy an opportunity to continue to improve and impress. And then you see, I would say, after another season, if he's the guy long-term for you. But I'm encouraged by what I saw today. I'm encouraged by some of the stuff that we saw last week as well. We just didn't possess the ball long enough.
Sure.
So,
right.
I honestly, I still think that Spencer Rattler is an NFL QB. I just don't know that he's the long-term answer here in New Orleans. That doesn't mean that he, won't ever get another opportunity here or somewhere else. But I think for now, the job is Shuck's to keep, and he should feel comfortable in that. But he's just got to continue to improve and grow, and hopefully we see that from him.
Sure is amazing the difference that you can have having 40 offensive plays and having 67 offensive plays.
Correct.
It sure is amazing the difference.
Some of that
6-7? Is that what you're trying to do there, Ross?
I mean, but being able
I'm saying still within this one.
Being able to move the chains and keep your offense on the field. And a big part of that is staying on schedule. And there was a whole lot of that in this game. And so it like you're able to actually see what the guy can do with them possessing the ball twice as long as they did last week. Hey, but real quick, I know we're running out of time, and I didn't say a player of the game. We glazed Alontae Taylor for a whole segment, so I won't go there. I'm just gonna say Demario, man. Like the guy is 36 years old, just past 900 career tackles in this game. Like just a model of consistency. A guy that's been unfairly underrated and probably underappreciated everywhere outside of the city of New Orleans. A guy that just continues to play hard, play fast, play physical, and be a leader for all of the guys on the team, not just the defense, but just to see the confidence, the energy that he plays with. Before this season, I was thinking like, okay, this is going to be his last year. We got to get these young guys ready. Like he can still play, and he's not. He doesn't seem to be slowing down. I thought last season, maybe toward the end of the year, he looked like he was slowing down a little bit. And now I know we're, kind of a little bit more than halfway through this season. There's still 7 games to go, but he doesn't show any signs, at least after today, that he's slowing down at all this season. So I need some of what he's taking. That's for sure.
Levante David, and Bobby Wagner. Yeah, those 3, man. I'm telling you, just a league of their own. Built different.
Me and Ross had this conversation earlier, and I'll say it on here. I think Demario Davis has been leagues better than both Bobby Wagner and Levante David. He just doesn't get the credit because he's not.
Oh, of course not. Defense. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I'd agree with that.
Okay. Yep. I'll give out my Saints player of the game real quick. I'm gonna give it to Zaire Mitchell-Payton because every year there's one name that pops up, and I go, who? And that Zaire Mitchell-Payton today.
Zaire?
Shout out to him.
He's the guy. He's the guy.
Who's your real pick?
They picked up off of.
That's him.
They picked him up off of waivers, and he's the guy that sent Velus Jones Jr. off the active roster. So they released Velus in order to sign him a couple weeks ago. And then, he only saw reps today because Jack Stoll got hurt. Everything like that. And I was like, oh shoot, that's him.
That's right.
I do think he looked like a guy that was up to the task, right? Like
he's a great
right
blocker
in.
Too.
He's blocking. He made a couple plays, in the receiving game. I mean, like that's the name of the game in the NFL. Next man up. Can you do your job? Can you make plays when they're there? Can you help an offense that's been struggling for most of the season look finally like an offense again? And he did just that.
Played 26 snaps and 24 of them were runs.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, as you say, we have to throw in Alvin there. I'd give honorable mention, maybe the offensive line, and of course, Juwan. I know. Play the thing, Dylan.
I got it.
Juwan. Yeah, exactly. I mean, 4 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he didn't drop any passes.
I'll give some credit to Devin Neal here. He didn't get a lot of. He is someone that I think needs to get more involved in the game than he does. Because man, it sure looks good whenever you give your rookie quarterback the chance to give a little bit of juice to the run game, but then you go away from it. I get you have to give AK his touches, but I think there has to be more of a balance. Just with the way that both of them are looking right now.
Average 5.5. And it had 3 catches for 9 yards, including a nice first down at one point and everything too. Like
I got a nice catch to catch and run to get a first down for sure. 4 carries for 22 yards, 5.5 a pop. That was I'll take that. 5 yards.
Cesar Ruiz did not get credited for a pressure in this game, and neither did Luke Fortner.
Yeah, but he
I
did
would've
get
thought
thrown
their
out the
offensive
club.
line-
He got thrown out the club, bro.
Yeah.
The Jazzy Jeff. Ah!
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Got
I mean,
him
no
out of
one had a
there.
good run game. I don't think anyone had a good run blocking game. Most
Maybe not.
definitely not.
But that's interesting. No Trevor Penning in the offensive line. I mean, I'm not saying it was Penning's fault.
Here,
but it's nice
I'll say
to
it.
see. It's nice to see
Ross-
the offensive line
Ross-
actually play pretty well. Go ahead.
I'll say
Go ahead,
it.
Ross.
I'll say it. I'll say it. The New Orleans Saints did not have Trevor Penning starting for 4 games this season, and in 3 of those 4 games, they ran for over 100 yards. I'm just saying. Sometimes it's correlation, sometimes it's causation, but
every time it's your decision to come listen to the Saints Squad Show right after a game or on Wednesdays. Thank you for listening to the Saints Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Yeah, me, Ross, Lance, and John, and Darian, who I actually have not heard from, so he might be arrested. We'll find out next week on the Saints Squad
Tough
Show.
break, Darren.
Until then, check out Ross Jackson for your latest everything Locked On Saints, up to date. He'll be having a bunch of episodes and a lot of fun with this win, I am sure. And until then, guys, thank you for listening. See y'all next week or on Wednesday.